I'm currently sitting in the middle of a random park in downtown Austin, Texas, making $84,000 per month, which is seven figures per year. And the only reason that I am able to do this is because I built a team that manages and operates my business without my constant day to day involvement. And in this video, I want to break down exactly what my org chart looks like right now and what we'll need to hire next in order to continue growing and scaling without me constantly having to do everything myself. And this is ultimately how you gain leverage and scale your business faster. So whether you have an agency that is just starting out or you're already doing 50, 60, 70, maybe even 80,000 a month, this video is going to be massively helpful for you when it comes to gaining leverage, knowing what your org chart and what your team structure needs to look like as you grow and as you scale. So first things first, we obviously have me, which is going to be the CEO. I am still operating everything. However, my team is able to run things without me. So what my current schedule looks like is 9 a.m. I have a team meeting with sales. 9:30 a.m. I have a team meeting with customer success, and that is it. That's my only meetings that I have of the day because my team manages everything else for me and brings in seven figures per year without me having to work more than 1 to 3 hours per day. Obviously, I do work far more than that because I'm focused on growth and building to the next level, growing to $1 million a month instead of per year, but I could maintain the same level that I'm currently at with that type of input. So I am, like I said, pretty much managing the team and making ads, bringing new leads in. That is my main goal or main role to keep the business stable and keep it running. Now below me, actually we'll go to the side of me first. We've got a setter and a closer. So a lot of people will get stuck and wait too long to start to hire a sales team. It will massively improve your business when you have a setter. Okay, a setter will almost always increase your sales efficiency because they're qualifying leads for you, so you're not wasting time on demos that aren't qualified, and they're getting way more dials in than you can ever do yourself. You can't manage a business and dial 150, 200 leads a day, but a setter can easily do that for you. So hire a setter, don't wait. I pay $1,500 a month base and 5% of new cash collected. It's a very, very good role, very cheap role. And this was actually the second person who I ever hired. Now, in addition to the setter, we now have a closer, which I wouldn't recommend getting until you're doing higher revenue numbers, 70 to 80K. I've recently hired mine about a month ago. He gets roughly 12% of new cash collected, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less. Gets 10% flat of new cash and then has bonuses on top of that that end up bringing him to about 12% on average. Now, this is a commission only role. It's exactly how you should be paying your closer because they need to be incentivized to obviously close the most deals possible. Setter is a bit different just because they don't have as much of an impact on whether or not the deal closes. So you want to give them a bit of a base as well from what I have seen myself. So that's essentially the sales team right now. And this sales team alone can probably scale up to 100, 150, probably $200,000 a month. Easily 150 to 175,000 per month if you're priced properly, which we are. Then below this, we have the entire fulfillment team. So we currently have two CSMs that each get about $5,500 per month, a little over 65 to 70,000 a year. If they're high performing, they can easily be earning 7 to 8,000 a month. If they're low performing, they might only be earning 4,000 a month, which is their base. But on average, I'm calculating in for about $5,500 per month. I would love them to make way more than that because if they're making $8,000, then I'm making exponentially more as well from our existing clients. And our CSM yesterday actually just upsold a client without me being involved at all for an additional $6,600 payment. $6,666 payment, which was amazing. I was not involved at all. And yesterday we had a $10,000 day. So these people, these CSMs, are essentially managing clients. They're doing client check-in calls, onboarding calls, launch calls, as well as routing and managing communication in Slack with client success specific questions and making sure that clients get the most out of the service. Below that, we have a project manager. This is a role that we recently hired, and it has been a game changer for us so far. Essentially, the project manager is in charge of tasks. So any client request, any client communication that's not CS related, and any client quality assurance, the project manager is fully responsible for. Before, our CSMs were taking care of this, and it's a low leverage task that was removing them from their time that could be spent on upselling clients, getting reviews, getting referrals, and making sure that we retain clients for the longest point possible. So the project manager will see a task or a request come in from a client and immediately route it out to a media buyer or video editor, depending on what the task is. And that brings us to the next position, which is our media buyers. So a media buyer is getting $1,200 per month, and they are essentially managing all of the client ad accounts as well as go high level accounts. So this is essentially the person who is in charge of actually going out and delivering the service. When the client launches or when the client onboards, the media buyer goes in, they set up high level, they add them to our data tracking sheet and a few other admin things. They add them to ClickUp or update their ClickUp, and then they go in and set up the ads manager. They also make sure that they keep a close eye on the ads manager to see when a client needs an update, when they're underperforming, when they're performing very well, so that they can communicate with that with the project manager, and the project manager can then go out and message the client saying you're crushing it this week, your cost per lead is down 50%, etc., which helps a lot when it comes to retaining clients and helping them see forward momentum. Then the final role that we currently have is a video editor. They get paid about $800 a month. The main point of this person is going to be editing ads for the agency. So when I film an ad, the video editor edits that. When I film a VSL, a YouTube video, short form content for the agency, the editor is managing that. And any overflow of content that the media buyers don't have capacity for at the time will also get shifted down to the video editor, and the project manager is the one deciding which tasks get routed where after the media buyers say which clients need updates and what the updates are. That way we have an efficient routing of tasks and no one person is completely overloaded. So that is essentially the current structure in terms of our team. Now we are hiring at the moment a operation wizard who's going to be getting around $1,500 USD per month, maybe up to $2,000 depending on their skill level and their past experience. The role of this person is going to be to come into the business and implement systems and automations using Make.com, N8N, Zapier, etc., to automate processes that we currently do manually and improve the client experience while reducing the amount of time that our team spends on certain things, and also doing things that our team can't do, like track data extremely accurately down to how many dials did a client make, how many of those dials picked up, how many of those pickups did we book in, how many of those bookings showed, etc., so that we have a better understanding on the specific bottleneck for each client, and we can help them say, okay, this is exactly what I need to do to overcome this bottleneck. And this is the entire org chart that we'll need in order to get up to 80 clients. Now, once you start scaling past that, it's very simple. The only thing you have to do is sort these out into pods. So, for example, if we're wanting to look at what 80 clients is going to look like, instead of having just this one pod right here, we're going to segment this off past 80 clients, I should say. And so now these become completely separate pods on their own. So now instead of having this all centralized where it's one project manager, one editor, one media buyer, it's going to be two separate pods with their own project manager, their own media buyer, their own video editor. And then these people can each handle up to 50 clients. That gets you to 100. And then you simply duplicate this to get to 150, 200 clients. And the only potential bottleneck is going to be how many leads and how many demos are you consistently booking and how many of those are closing. So that's what my org chart looks like right now, doing 7 figures per year in my agency. That's how I'm able to sit here in a random park in the middle of downtown and film this YouTube video for fun. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do so. I'm going to link my Instagram in the description below. I have nothing to sell you. I make enough money from my agency, but I would love to connect with you, especially if you're in Austin, Texas or Chicago, Illinois. Shoot me a DM and I will talk to you later.